When Jim Carrey walks into a small restaurant in Venice Beach and the owner says, "I don't serve celebrities," nobody knows what's about to happen. Nobody knows about the property deed folded in Jim's pocket. Nobody knows about the blue bowl. Nobody knows about 1978. Thursday, March 12th, 2020, 7:43 p.m. Mateo's Italian Kitchen, Abbot Kinney Boulevard, Venice Beach, California. 26 tables, checkered tablecloths, photographs of Sicily on the walls. The same photographs from 42 years ago. Jim pushes open the door, baseball cap low, sunglasses even in darkness, paint-stained black t-shirt, jeans with holes in the knees, 6 feet 2 inches, lean, moving like someone avoiding recognition but knowing it's impossible. His hands trembling slightly, the rubber face that made him famous completely still. The smell hits him like a memory made physical. Garlic, basil, tomato sauce simmering, fresh bread, olive oil, the exact same smell from 42 years ago. He stops breathing for 3 seconds. His eyes close behind the sunglasses. A hostess approaches. "Welcome to Mateo's. Table for one?" "Is Mateo here?" Jim asks quietly. Before she answers, a voice booms. "Hold on." Mateo Russo, 58 years old, gray hair, white apron with sauce stains, arms crossed. "You," Mateo says, pointing. "I know you. Jim Carrey, the movie star." The restaurant goes quiet. Phones coming out, recording, whispers spreading like fire. Is that Jim Carrey? Oh my God. Is he getting kicked out? A teenage girl at table 3 has her phone up. TikTok recording. The couple by the window, frozen mid-bite. An elderly man shakes his head in disbelief. "Let me tell you something," Mateo says, his voice loud enough for everyone. "I don't serve celebrities here. This is a family restaurant. Real people, not Hollywood phonies. You people come in expecting special treatment, free meals, photos for Instagram. Do you know who I am? Well, I don't care who you are, not in my father's restaurant." The hostess looks like she wants to disappear. A waiter drops a fork. The sound echoes. "Your father's restaurant," Jim repeats quietly. "That's right. My father built this place 42 years ago. Real food, real people, no celebrities. Please leave." Jim stands silent, the manic energy from his movies completely gone. He looks tired, sad. He turns toward the door, then stops. "What was your father's name?" "Antonio. Antonio Russo. Why?" Jim turns back, takes off his sunglasses, eyes wet. "Antonio made the best carbonara in Los Angeles, in a blue bowl, always blue. He'd sit with you, tell stories about Sicily, about how food was love made visible." Silence, everyone watching. "How do you know that?" Mateo asks. "Because I ate here, many times, starting in 1978. Music. Jim was 17. His family lived in a VW van. His father, Percy Carey, had lost his accounting job 6 months earlier. They'd been evicted. Everything they owned fit in that van. His mother, Kathleen, was in constant pain, prescription pills in a paper bag. His younger sister crying herself to sleep most nights. Jim was working as a janitor, Titan Wheels factory, 8-hour shifts after dropping out of high school, cleaning toilets, mopping floors, $20 a night, his hands raw from chemicals, his back aching at 17 years old. But twice a week, Jim would walk to Antonio's Italian Kitchen on Abbot Kinney Boulevard. Not to eat, to watch through the window. Watching families laugh over pasta, watching people who had homes, who had tables, who had normal lives. One night, Antonio came outside to smoke. Gray hair, kind eyes, permanent flour dust on his apron. "You hungry, kid?" "No, sir." Jim's stomach was screaming. He'd eaten 1 meal in 2 days. "Liar." Antonio smiled. Not cruel, just honest. "Come inside. I don't have money." "Did I ask for money?" Antonio fed him carbonara that night, in a blue bowl. The pasta was perfect. The sauce rich. The first real meal Jim had eaten in weeks. He tried not to cry while eating. Failed. Antonio sat across from him, didn't say anything, just let Jim eat, let him be human for 20 minutes. "Where do you live?" Antonio finally asked. "Sort of nearby." "That means no." Antonio studied Jim's face. The face that could already transform into anything. "Where do you live?" Jim looked down. "In a van, with my family." Antonio didn't flinch, didn't pity, just nodded once. What's your name? Jim. Jim Carrey. Italian? Canadian. Irish. Antonio smiled. Close enough. Come back tomorrow night, Jim. After closing, I'll have work for you. Jim came back. Antonio gave him dishes to wash, floors to mop, $20 cash at the end of the night, and always, a meal before he left. Blue Bowl, carbonara. This went on for 8 months, 3 nights a week. Jim washed dishes. Antonio fed him. They talked about everything: dreams, failure, fear, comedy. What do you want to be? Antonio asked one night, both of them sitting in the empty restaurant at 1 a.m. I want to make people laugh, Jim said. I want to be a comedian, actor, something. But it's stupid. We're living in a van. It's not stupid. My dad had dreams too. Look where that got us. Then do it for him, Antonio said. Your father had dreams. That means he believed in something. Don't let poverty kill belief, Jim. That's how they win. Who? Everyone who wants you to give up. Jim never forgot. When he got his first comedy gig, he told Antonio. When he got cast on In Living Color, he brought tickets. When Jim's father died in 1994, Antonio came to the funeral. But in 1997, Antonio had a stroke. Died 3 days later. Jim was filming The Truman Show. Couldn't make the funeral. Never forgave himself. Music, back to March 12, 2020. You knew my father? Mateo asks. He saved my life, Jim says. Many times. The dishwasher, the kid with the van, that was you? That was me. My father talked about you for years. He said you had light inside you. Jim's hands shake. When he died, I couldn't say goodbye, so I did something else. What? 3 weeks after your father died, someone bought this building, anonymous buyer. The landlord wanted to sell to developers, turn it into condos. This restaurant was going to disappear. I know, but they let us stay. 20-year lease. I never knew who. Jim pulls out a folded paper, hands it to Mateo. Property deed. Owner, James Eugene Carrey. Mateo's hands shake. You own this building? Your father gave me food when I was starving, work when I needed it, hope when I had none. I could never repay that, but I could make sure his restaurant survived. Why didn't you tell me? Because it wasn't about credit. It was about keeping his legacy alive. Mateo sits down heavily. All these years, you've been the landlord. I'm not the landlord. I'm the kid your father fed. That's all I'll ever be. Music. Mateo stands, walks to Jim, hugs him. Jim cries, I'm sorry I didn't make it to the funeral. He knew, Mateo says. He knew you loved him. The restaurant erupts, applause, standing ovation. After a moment, Mateo pulls back. You hungry? Jim laughs. Starving. Carbonara? In a blue bowl? Always. 2 hours later, restaurant closed. Jim and Mateo sit together. The dining room empty, just 2 men and 42 years of history. Mateo brings out a wooden box, small, cedar, worn at the edges. My father left this for you. In his will. He wrote your name on it. I've been keeping it safe, waiting for you to come back. Jim's hands shake as he opens it. Inside, a letter, a photo, a blue bowl. The photo shows Jim at 17, standing in the restaurant kitchen, skinny, exhausted, but smiling. Antonio's arm around him, both looking at the camera like they knew something the world didn't. Jim holds the photo, his thumb tracing Antonio's face. I forgot this existed, he whispers. He kept it on his desk, until the day he died. Jim picks up the letter. 1 page, Antonio's handwriting, shaky, written in his final days. Jim's vision blurs as he reads, his voice breaking as he speaks aloud. Jim, you are going to be something. I know this. Everyone who meets you knows this. But please remember, fame is easy, kindness is hard. Make them laugh, but more importantly, make them feel less alone. That is your real job. That is everyone's real job. The world will try to make you forget the van, the dishes, the hunger. Don't forget, that boy washing my dishes is the real you, not the character you will play. I am proud to have known him. I am proud to have fed him. Antonio. Jim folds the letter, presses it against his chest, his shoulders shaking, crying like he hasn't cried in years. He wrote this 3 days before the stroke, Mateo says quietly. He knew something was wrong. He was getting his affairs in order, and he wrote to you. I don't deserve this. Yes, you do. He wouldn't have written it if you didn't. Jim looks at the blue bowl, picks it up, holds it like it's made of glass. This is the bowl? The exact one. He set it aside. Told me, when Jim comes back, this is his bowl. Nobody else uses it. He thought I'd come back? He knew you would. That night, Jim makes an offer. I want to set up a fund for this restaurant to feed people who can't afford to eat, the way your father fed me. How much? However much it takes, forever. The fund, $500,000 initially, managed quietly, no press releases, no publicity, just food for people who needed it. First year, 1,247 people fed for free, every meal in a blue bowl. Marcus Chen, 34, veteran, sleeping in his car outside a 7-Eleven 3 blocks away. Someone told him about Mateo's. He came in, nervous, ashamed. I don't have money, he said. Mateo handed him a menu. Everything's free here if you need it to be. Marcus ate carbonara, cried. Came back every week for 2 months until he got a job. He still comes in, pays now. Tips heavy. Sarah Williams, 27, single mother, 2 kids, working 3 jobs, walking past Mateo's one night. Kids crying from hunger. She'd spent her last $14 on diapers. Mateo saw her through the window. Came outside. You look tired. Come eat. She tried to refuse. I can't pay. Mateo smiled. Someone paid for you 42 years ago. It's already covered. She fed her kids. Pasta. Bread. Milk. She came back to volunteer every Sunday. Helps serve others now. David Park, 19, sleeping under the Venice Beach pier. Hadn't eaten in 3 days. Came to Mateo's. I heard you help people. Mateo sat him down, fed him, asked his story. David was a comedian, trying to make it. Broke, alone. Mateo called Jim that night. Jim came the next day, sat with David, talked comedy, struggle. The van. This is your Antonio moment, Jim told him. One day you'll feed someone else. Every person fed. Every story different. Every blue bowl the same. And nobody knew Jim was behind it. Nobody except Mateo. The story leaked. News outlets. Jim Carrey's secret 23-year act of kindness. But Jim refused interviews, stayed quiet, because it was never about him. It was about Antonio. About a man who fed a hungry kid. March 12, 2023. 3 years later. Mateo's Italian kitchen still there. Still serving. Jim comes monthly, through the back door. After closing, he and Mateo cook. Share wine. Tell Antonio stories. Jim always eats carbonara. In a blue bowl. My father was right about you, Mateo says one night, both of them in the kitchen at midnight cooking together. About what? You have light inside you. Jim stops stirring the sauce, stares at the pot. Your father put it there. I was disappearing, Mateo. I was 17 and invisible, hungry, ashamed. Your father saw me, really saw me, not as a future movie star, as a kid who needed food, who needed hope. That light, that's his light. I'm just carrying it forward. That's what we're supposed to do, Mateo says. Carry each other's light. Jim nods. I spent years chasing fame. Thinking if I got famous enough, rich enough, successful enough, I'd matter. I'd be visible. But you know what? I felt more invisible at $20 million a movie than I did washing dishes here for $20. Because nobody saw me. They saw the character, the rubber face, the movie star. Your father saw Jim. The real one, the scared one, the hungry one. And that's who you still are. That's who we all are. Just scared kids looking for a blue bowl of pasta and someone who gives a damn. Outside, spring evening in Venice Beach. The restaurant glows. Inside, laughter, garlic and basil, blue bowls, and somewhere, Antonio Russo smiling. This is what love looks like. A restaurant that survived. A legacy that continues. A kid who was fed and now feeds others. That is the story of how a $5 bowl of pasta changed everything. Before you go, drop a comment and tell us where you're watching from. We read everyone. If this moved you, hit that like button. Share this with someone who needs to remember that one act of kindness can echo for 42 years. Click the next video to see what Jim did when someone tried to humiliate him in public.